Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a strange sensation in your chest? It was not pain, it was not hunger. It was as if someone were there in your room, watching you. You looked to the side. There was no one. But the sensation did not pass. And on the following day, everything began to go wrong. Fighting at home, money disappearing, fatigue that has no explanation. I shall tell you now, without any detour, this has to do with who entered your house. And I'm not speaking only of people of flesh and bone. I'm speaking of energy, of intention, of things that the majority of people completely ignore. And it is exactly because of this ignorance that life goes astray without anyone understanding the reason. In this video, I shall reveal to you what the spiritual world shows regarding those who enter your home. I will explain to you why certain environments sicken the people who dwell in them, why there are houses that seem cursed, and why sometimes a single visit from someone is enough for everything to unravel for weeks. You will understand the signs, the causes, and most importantly, what to do to truly protect your house and your family. Stay until the end, because the final part of this video may completely change the way you live within your own home. Let us begin with what you already feel, but perhaps have never put into words. Think with me. You have lived in your house for years. You know every corner. You know where the floor creaks. You know which window lets the wind in. You know the noise the refrigerator makes in the middle of the night. You know your house as you know the palm of your hand. But there are days when you enter it and feel that something is different. Nothing has changed place. No one has moved anything. But the air is heavy. The environment is charged. It seems there is an invisible cloud hovering over the living room. And when you try to sleep, sleep does not come. Or it comes but full of nightmares, strange dreams with people you do not recognize, with situations that seem like warnings. This is not a thing of your head. And whoever tells you it is, simply does not understand how the spiritual world functions. Your house is much more than four walls and a roof. In the spiritual tradition of various cultures, including those that formed the Brazilian people, the house is considered an extension of the energetic body of those who dwell in it. The indigenous peoples of Brazil already knew this for centuries. Before building an oca, there were rituals of cleansing the ground, of permission from the earth, of connection with the spirits of the place. In the religions of African matrix, which so much molded our spirituality, the house is a sacred terreiro, even when it has no altar at all. Each door, each room, each corner holds energy. And this energy can be of protection or of destruction, depending on what enters and what is permitted therein. And here is the point that the majority of people do not perceive. You can lock the door of your house with 3 keys and 2 locks. You can install a camera, an alarm, an electric fence. But if you do not care for the energetic entrance, you are leaving the spiritual door wide open. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This seems very abstract. It seems like talk from someone who wants to frighten. But calm yourself. I will show this to you in a way that makes sense, both for those who are spiritualized and for those who believe more in science. Because the truth is that science is already beginning to confirm what the ancients always knew. There exists a field of study called environmental psychology. Researchers from universities such as USP and UFMG have already published works showing how the physical environment directly affects the emotional state and even the health of people. Disorganized environments increase cortisol, the stress hormone. Spaces with little natural light contribute to frameworks of anxiety and depression. And environments where there is frequent conflict literally alter the brain chemistry of those who live there, especially children and the elderly. And it does not stop there. The HeartMath Institute in the United States has already demonstrated that the human heart emits an electromagnetic field that can be measured meters away from the body. When a person is in a state of anger, fear, or resentment, this field changes pattern. It becomes chaotic, disordered. And when this person enters a closed environment, such as the living room of your house, that chaotic field interacts with everything that is there. With the furniture, with the walls, with the air, and principally with the field of the other people who are in the same space. Have you already noticed how there are people who arrive at a place and the climate changes instantly? It is not an impression. It is physics. It is measurable energy. Now take this information and amplify it. If the physical environment already causes all this, imagine what the energetic environment can cause, Because energy is information. It is vibration. And vibration affects matter. This is not an opinion. It is basic physics. All matter vibrates. Every emotion generates a frequency, and this frequency remains impregnated in the places where it is emitted. It is for this reason that there are houses that, the moment you enter, you feel peace. And there are houses that as soon as you cross the door, you already want to leave. It is not decoration. It is not size. It is what vibrates inside. And now comes the part that will make you rethink many things. Pay attention. Each person who enters your house brings with them an energetic field. This field is formed by everything they think, feel, desire, and hide. You do not see this with physical eyes, but your body feels it. Your intuition captures it, and your home absorbs it. It is as if your house were a sponge. It absorbs the energy of everyone who passes through there, and if you do not clean this sponge, it goes on accumulating invisible filth. And this filth begins to manifest in very concrete ways. I will list for you the most common signs that the energy of your house has been contaminated by someone who entered it. And I want you to pay much attention because you will probably identify with at least 3 of these signs. First sign, fights that arise from nowhere. You and your spouse or you and your children begin to argue over small things, things that normally would cause no problem at all, but suddenly everything becomes a reason for a fight. And after the fight, no one even remembers rightly why it began. This happens because the energy of conflict that someone brought into your house activated your points of emotional vulnerability. You were not angry. That anger was not yours, but it found space in you because it was already in the environment. Second sign, insomnia or disturbed sleep. You lie down, you are tired, but sleep does not come, or it comes and is full of nightmares, dreams of persecution, of darkness, of unknown people. Many people think this is just day-to-day stress, and it can be in part. But when it begins to happen repeatedly right after a certain person visited your house, it is not a coincidence. Third sign, objects that break, appliances that fail, things that disappear. The light bulb burns out. The cell phone freezes. The faucet begins to leak. It may seem like bad luck, but in the spiritual field, material disorder is a reflection of energetic disorder. When the field of your house is messy, the physical responds. Fourth sign, inexplicable fatigue. You slept 8 hours, but you wake up destroyed. You feel a fatigue that is not of the body, it is of the soul. It seems that someone sucked your energy during the night, and in many cases, spiritually speaking, that is exactly what happened. If you identified with at least 2 of these signs, comment below the word recognize. I want to know how many people are living this at this moment. And if this content is making sense to you, leave your like, because this helps this video reach more people who need to hear this. Now let us go to the most delicate part. Let us speak of the causes. Who are these people who contaminate the energy of your house? And how does this happen? The first thing you need to understand is that most of the time these people do not do this on purpose. Not all negative energy comes from malice. Often it comes from suffering. It comes from unconscious envy. It comes from accumulated frustration. The person arrives at your house, sits on your sofa, drinks a coffee with you, and during that conversation goes on dumping all the emotional load they carry. Complaints, gossips, stories of misfortune, comparisons. And you, out of politeness, stay there listening, welcoming, absorbing. Only what you do not perceive is that that conversation does not end when the person leaves. Their energy remains. It remains on the sofa where they sat. It remains in the cup they used. It remains in the air they breathed inside your house. And it remains principally in the energetic field of the room where the conversation happened. In Brazil, we have a very beautiful culture of receiving people. We open the door, offer coffee, set the table. It is our way. It is part of our identity. But this generosity needs to be accompanied by discernment, because not everyone who sits at your table desires your well-being. And even those who desire your well-being may be, without knowing, carrying an energy that does not match your house. Now, there exists a second type of contamination that is more serious, and this one does involve intention. There are people who enter your house to observe, to measure, to compare. They enter, look at everything, praise with their mouth, but inside they are counting. They are calculating. They are feeling envy of every detail. of your television, of your sofa, of your family gathered, of the food on your table. And this envy, which many people pretend does not exist, is one of the most destructive spiritual forces that exist. Envy is like an invisible acid. It corrodes from the inside, and when it is directed into your house, it begins to corrode what you have built. First, the harmony, then the health, then the finances. It is a slow process, silent but devastating. In Brazil, we even have a popular expression for this, olho gordo e fat eye. And it is not for nothing that this expression has existed for generations. Our grandparents already knew that the gaze of covetousness has weight, it has consequence. In practically all cultures of the world, there exists some reference to the destructive power of the envious gaze. In Turkey, they use the nazar boncugu. In Italy, the malocchio. Here in Brazil, we hang peppers at the door, place sword of St. George in the garden, and use rue behind the ear. It may seem like folklore, but folklore is popular wisdom that survived centuries precisely because it works. Because people perceived in practice that these measures made a difference. Now I will ask you a question, and I want you to be sincere with yourself. How many times did you open the doors of your house to someone who, deep down, you knew did not root for you? How many times did you show an achievement, a renovation, a new purchase, and felt that the praise you received was hollow? It was from the mouth out. Indeed. That moment in which you felt this falsity, even if for a second, was your intuition warning you. It was the spiritual world pulling your sleeve and saying, "Be careful with whom you are letting enter." I know that this subject is strong, and perhaps you are thinking of someone now, someone who visited your house recently, and since then things are not well. Keep that thought, because in a moment I will teach you exactly what to do. But before, I need to speak about the bedroom, because the title of this video is not by chance. The bedroom is the most sacred room of your house, and it is exactly there that the spiritual world most reveals about what is happening. Think of the following. The bedroom is where you sleep. It is where you are most vulnerable. When you sleep, your consciousness retracts, your body relaxes, your energetic defenses lower. It is during sleep that your spirit expands, that you enter into contact with subtle planes, that you receive orientations, warnings, and even spiritual healings. The bedroom is the portal between the physical world and the spiritual world. Therefore, what happens in your bedroom directly affects your life. And here is the revelation I want to pass to you. Not everyone should have access to your bedroom. In truth, almost no one should. Your bedroom needs to be treated as a sanctuary, a sacred space, reserved. When you permit any person to enter your bedroom, sit on your bed, touch your things, you are literally opening your most intimate portal to the energy of another person. This is especially serious when it comes to people with dense energy. People who are going through personal crises, through spiritual conflicts, through processes of emotional imbalance. If these people sit on your bed, touch your pillows, enter your bathroom, their energy remains there. And when you go to sleep, it is this energy that will envelop you during the most vulnerable hours of your existence. There is a detail that few people speak of, and that is fundamental. The bed is the most energetically charged object of your entire house. Think well. It is in the bed that you cry. It is in the bed that you love. It is in the bed that you dream. It is in the bed that you surrender yourself completely to rest and to vulnerability. The sheet, the pillow, the mattress, all of this carries your energetic signature, your essence. Therefore, when another person sits there, lies there, or simply touches that space, they are mixing their energy with yours at that exact point where you will spend 6, 7, 8 hours unconscious. In Eastern traditions, there exists the concept that the bedroom should contain only the energy of the couple or of the person who sleeps there. No accumulation of objects, no visits, no electronics that bring information from the external world. The ideal bedroom is a fertile void, a clean space, silent and sacred, prepared exclusively for restorative sleep and for connection with higher planes of consciousness. Many people who suffer from chronic insomnia, who have frequent nightmares, who wake up more tired than they slept, do not perceive that the problem may lie in the fact that they permitted the entry of incompatible energies into their bedroom. It is not fussiness, it is not superstition, it is spiritual consciousness. If this content is opening your eyes to something you had never thought of, Subscribe to the channel now and activate the bell. Every week, I bring revelations like this, which can transform your life from the inside out. Now let us go to the part you were waiting for. The solution. What to do to protect your house, your bedroom, and your family. I will give you a practical step-by-step, simple and powerful. And here, I will mix spiritual wisdom with practices that any person can apply, independent of religion or belief. First step, energetic cleansing of the environment. This is the base of everything. Just as you sweep the floor and clean the furniture, you need to clean the energy of your house regularly. There are various ways to do this. One of the most traditional in Brazil is defumation. Defumation with herbs such as rue, rosemary, guinea henweed, and benzoin is an ancestral practice used both in indigenous traditions and in religions of African matrix. The smoke of these herbs has the capacity to transmute dense energies, purifying the environment. Light the defumator and pass through all the rooms of the house, beginning at the front door and ending at the back door. Open all the windows so that the heavy energy has a way to exit. If you do not have access to defumation, you can use coarse salt. Place a handful of coarse salt in the corners of the rooms, especially in the bedroom. Leave it for 24 hours and then discard it in the trash, never in the toilet. The salt absorbs the dense energy and neutralizes it. This practice is millenary. Ancient civilizations throughout the entire world used salt as a purifier. And it is not for nothing. From a chemical point of view, sodium chloride in its raw form has hygroscopic properties. That is, it absorbs moisture and, symbolically, absorbs impurities from the environment. Second step, define clear limits on who enters and where they enter. This requires courage, especially in a culture like ours, where denying entry to someone may seem like rudeness. But protecting your house is not rudeness, it is responsibility. You do not need to be rude. You can receive people in the living room, on the veranda, in the kitchen, but the bedroom, especially the couple's bedroom, must be a restricted space. If possible, keep the bedroom door closed when there are visits. And if someone asks to use the bathroom, direct them to the social bathroom, not to the suite's bathroom. I know it may seem like an exaggeration, but after you begin to practice this, you will perceive the difference. The quality of your sleep will improve, the fights will diminish, the sensation of peace inside the house will increase. And this is not guesswork, it is the experience of thousands of people who have already applied this principle. Third step, prayer and intention. Independent of your religion, prayer is one of the most powerful tools that exist to protect an environment. Because prayer is directed vibration, it is conscious energy. When you pray inside your house, you are elevating the frequency of that space. You are creating a spiritual barrier that makes the entry of incompatible energies difficult. Do this daily. It can be a simple prayer with your own words. It can be a psalm, a prayer, a mantra. The important thing is the intention. When you speak with conviction that that house is protected, that that home is sacred, that no negative energy has permission to remain there, you are decreeing spiritually. And decrees have power. Fourth step, attention to the signs. The spiritual world is communicating with you all the time, through dreams, through intuitions, through physical sensations. If you visited someone's house and returned with a headache, pay attention. If after a certain person left you felt an immense relief, as if the air became lighter, pay attention. If you dreamed of dirty water, of insects, of darkness, pay attention. These are signs that something in your energetic field, or in the field of your house, needs to be cared for. Do not ignore the signs, do not rationalize everything. Reason is a wonderful tool, but it has limits. There exist dimensions of reality that reason alone does not reach, and it is in these spaces that spirituality acts. Fifth step, care with what you permit inside your house besides people. Negative conversations, news of tragedy at high volume, music with destructive lyrics, constant discussions over the phone, all of this also contaminates the environment. Your house needs to be a place of restoration, a refuge. If what enters it, whether through people, screens, or words, is predominantly negative, the environment will sicken, and whoever lives there will sicken along with it. A simple practice that I recommend is creating what I call an entry ritual. Every time you arrive home before entering, stop for an instant, breathe deeply, and mentally declare, "I leave out here everything that does not belong to me." I enter this house only with what is mine and with what is good. This takes 10 seconds, and these 10 seconds can be the difference between bringing the weight of the world into your home or leaving it at the door. Now, before closing, I want to tell you something that happened with a woman named Donna Marlene from Minas Gerais. Donna Marlene was 62 years old and lived alone after her husband passed away. Her house was simple, but it was always a place of peace. Until a neighbor began to frequent the house almost every day. She would arrive without warning, sit, stay for hours, and the conversation was always the same: complaint, illness, problem, tragedy. Donna Marlene, out of kindness, welcomed her, listened, offered coffee. But in a few weeks, she began to feel pains in her body that she did not have before. Insomnia, sadness without reason. The house, which was always bright and airy, began to seem dark, even with the windows open. One day, a friend of Donna Marlene, who understood spirituality, visited the house and said, "Marlene, there is an energy here that is not yours. Someone is dumping weight in this house." Donna Marlene understood instantly who it was. She did not fight with the neighbor. She was not rude. But she began to establish limits. She reduced the visits. She began to receive her only on the veranda. She performed a defumation in the entire house, and she prayed. She prayed with faith, asking for protection. In less than 2 weeks, the pains vanished. Sleep returned, and the house returned to having that peace it always had. Donna Marlene did nothing extraordinary. She did not spend money. She did not seek anyone out. She simply understood that the home is sacred and that protecting one's own home is an act of love, not of selfishness. The story of Donna Marlene is the story of thousands of Brazilians. Perhaps it is your story. Perhaps you are at this exact moment living something similar and did not even know that the cause could be so simple and at the same time so profound. The truth is that we were taught to care for the house on the outside, to paint, to decorate, to renovate. But no one taught us to care for the house on the inside, in the energetic sense. No one taught us that the spiritual maintenance of the home is as important as the physical maintenance, and it is this gap that opens space for everything I described in this video. So I want you to take a central concept for your life from today on. Your house is your temple. It does not matter if it is large or small, if it is owned or rented, if it is new or old. What matters is the energy that pulses inside, and this energy depends directly on you, on whom you permit to enter, on what you permit to happen, on what you do to keep that space clean, elevated, and protected. It is understanding that you live in a world where the invisible is as real as the visible, and that your house, the place where you rest, where you dream, where you reconstruct yourself, needs to be energetically clean and protected so that you can live with health, peace, and prosperity. You were chosen to watch this video. It was not by chance that it appeared to you. The spiritual world uses the means it can to make the messages arrive. And this message reached you because it was necessary. Because something in your house, in your bedroom, in your life, needs your attention now. So I ask you, do not leave this knowledge stagnant. Apply it. Perform the cleansing. Establish the limits. Pray and observe the transformation. Because it will happen. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. If this video touched you in some way, if it made sense for your life, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Send it to that person in the family who you know is going through difficulties inside their home. Sometimes a video changes a life, and perhaps that life is that of someone you love. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so as not to miss any content. And comment below. What was the greatest revelation of this video for you? I read every comment, and your experience may help another person who is living the same situation. We shall see each other in the next video. Care for your house, care for your energy. And remember, you are the first barrier of protection of your home. When you are strong, your house is strong. When your house is strong, your family is protected. And when your family is protected, nothing in this world, neither in this one nor in the other, has power over you. Until next time,